Hey, what's up, everyone? We're back with another BKFC Reddit Ask Me Anything. We're joined by the guy who's going to be headlining the BKFC Canada, Drew Stuve. How you doing, sir?
Good buddy, how you doing?
Good. I like you got some good photos behind you and a belt. I'm sure you want to put a nice BKFC belt on the wall at some point, huh?
Oh yeah, man. This is an amateur belt. That's from my second amateur fight. It's got to be like 6 or 7 years ago now. So I need to add to that collection with some real belts.
I'm curious what's going to happen. So over in the UK, they have the UK belt, but now they have the European belt. So in America, we only, and I say America, but you got Canada, you got Mexico. I'm curious if they're going to do a North American title because as of right now, it seems like the American belts are the world belts, and I would love for them to do a North American title and then give you guys a chance to put some hardware on the wall too.
Yeah, this is what I was wondering. Maybe if they're gonna do maybe do like a Canadian belt if they keep coming back to Canada, and then maybe do like a North American belt, or if the USA belt is just world title. I don't. It's weird with that shit. It's starting to become like boxing, man, where there's just belts everywhere for everything.
There's too many belts, but then you also have guys who get hurt and they can't fight for a long time, and it sucks to the interim thing sucks. So
Yeah,
I
it
like being
does.
able to say oh, or at least you're putting a champion against a champion. But
100%. I agree with that.
okay, so it seems like you guys in Wolf House are going to be running roughshod over this card. Wolf House, it's almost like this is a BKFC card for you guys, up there. Your guys' team is just so huge. Have you guys talked about hey, we should go to another province and try to take them on or something? You know what I mean? We've talked about doing gyms against gyms for BKFC before, but I think you guys have
That
such
would
a
be a
great team.
wicked. Even like Alberta versus BC, or Alberta versus Ontario or Saskatchewan. That'd be pretty awesome. Like we definitely have the biggest pro team in Alberta. We must have one of the biggest ones in Canada. Like I think we have like over 10 professional fighters now.
Yeah, and it's crazy, and it seems like did you look for them, did they look for you? I don't know how your coach brings you guys in, but you guys have such a huge team. How do you guys how'd you all come together?
I got there. I think I've been with Wolf House like 6 years now, 5 or 6 years, maybe seven. One of my best friends used to train there. I didn't start boxing with them. I started at a couple other clubs. I bounced around a little bit just because there's not much. There isn't great coaches around here. Like there's some
Sure.
okay ones, but nothing like super serious like we are at Wolf House. And then one of my best friends trained at Wolf House. And it's funny, my last amateur fight before I joined Wolf House was against Wolf House. And I beat one of their guys. And then I came
Yeah.
over and joined them after that. And I've been there ever since. And I honestly don't see myself leaving now. But now that we have all the pros and like we have really good program, really good coaches, I think people just kind of gravitate towards Wolf House now because of that.
So you are from Canada. I wore my BKFC Reddit hockey jersey thing, in honor of you. Are you more into hockey or are you more into curling? You're from Canada. Which do you prefer?
Yeah, definitely hockey. I don't watch curling. It's a little too boring for me. I like hockey. I like the hitting. I like the fighting, of course.
What do you say? There's so many people that are like, oh, you need to get fighting out of hockey, but I feel like it's such an. I feel like other sports would actually do better if there was fighting because you have those guys who take the cheap shots, and you got the enforcers who kind of keep the game on an even kill. What are your thoughts on fighting?
I think so too, man. Like you got a guy running around. Like when you're hitting guys with your stick, it's called a slash. You're slashing guys, or you're running guys from behind. Like those are
Yeah,
dangerous hits, and if they don't pay the price for doing that, then they're just gonna keep doing it. So no, I think it's great fighting in hockey. I mean, nobody's ever got seriously injured fighting. Like even though it is
yeah.
like a street, it's like a bare knuckle fight, right? They drop the gloves and fuck their bare knuckle, but no, I think it's great for hockey, man. I hope they never take it away, and even if they try, I don't think they could.
Have you seen those ice wars before? I think that's some
Yeah,
crazy stuff.
one of my buddies, he fought on it actually, and he
Okay.
did like he played hockey when he was younger. Obviously, everybody here can skate, but he hadn't played hockey in years. But yeah, he went and fought on the ice where that shit's crazy, man. Yeah, they wear MMA gloves.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. So you're a guy who came from the tryouts. Can you tell us about how the tryouts are? I remember watching you on the tryouts. So can you tell us about that experience?
That was pretty cool, man. Like I've never tried out for a sport since like obviously playing hockey, you always have tryouts and stuff, but I hadn't done that since I was a kid. Like nobody really does that, right? So once I heard that the tryouts were gonna be coming here, like I was all for it. I was like, fuck yeah, that's wicked. So me and my buddies obviously all put our names in, we all got chose to do it, and then me and Chad got chose to be on that TV show they had there for the tryouts. So that was a
Okay,
good time. And then yeah, we just performed well like we knew we would. And then they ended up having it at Wolf House. So I think Ryan Ford, he's one of my coaches. I think he
sure.
reached out or someone reached out to him to have it at Wolf House. So yeah, it worked out great for us, and it was fun being on the TV show and stuff. Like now that I've done some interviews, like I felt so awkward on it. It was the first time I've really been on camera, but now I'm starting to get used to it a little bit more. It takes practice, like anything, right?
Was there anything funny that happened that day? Like we've talked to other people that said like they've had people to show up that had no business like being in the ring. Did you guys have anything funny happen that day, or is just kind of just business as usual?
No, for the most part, it was. I mean, there was a few guys who didn't really have any fights who showed up. There was one guy who was fighting on the BKFC Canada card, that Dan Gadoy or whatever. I
Godoy,
don't
yeah,
think,
yeah.
yeah, he's had some amateur fights now, but I remember I opened the gym to let people in because I work at the gym also, so I had keys and I was the first one there, and he was the first one there too, so I let him in, and I remember he came right up to me. He's like, "Oh man, this is my thing. I got street fights and shit." And I'm just like, "Yeah, okay, buddy. It's street fights. Like this ain't. I know it's like a street fight, but this ain't a street fight." I know he actually ended up being not bad, but other than him, like we had some pretty talented guys there.
Okay. Okay, so you seem to have a lot of tattoos. At what age did you start getting tattoos? Do your tattoos mean anything, or are you just kind of like an open canvas and you let people do some tattooing on you?
I got my first tattoos when I was 16. I used my buddy's ID. I have some that mean something, like this hand, or no, sorry, this hand. It's my sister's
Hmm.
name. Me and my mom got this one together in Hawaii. And then
Okay.
this is two roses crossing through with an 18 because both my grandparents passed in 2018. And then I have a couple more, like I have a boxing tattoo, I have some boxing gloves, like got a few that mean something. But honestly, for the most part, I just enjoy art. I love the art. I have lots of the Japanese style art. I love Japanese art. So, like you said, I'm just kind of open canvas. Lots of times I just let people do their thing, make it look cool.
Okay, so I heard you're also a barber. Like what got you into being a barber? It's kind of funny that there's several barbers who fight for the BKFC. Like it's got to be a good paying gig, you know?
We're training partners, we're boxers, and we're both barbers. It's hilarious because when we started training together, like we didn't even know each other, and we were both already barbers and already boxers. So, like, what are the odds of that? But it just started back when I was 18. I was in school for a bit. I didn't really, school's not my thing, and I went and got a bad haircut one day, and I was pissed. So I came home, I shaved my own head, and then I was like, "Fuck this! I'm cutting my own hair from now on." And then, drunken Friday nights, as 18 years old, me and my buddies are going to go out and we're all drunk. Like, give me a haircut. So, I'm giving guys fucking fades in the bathroom while we're all hammered. Terrible haircuts. Like, my buddies must have rocked some garbage haircuts back in the day. But I did that for a while. And then I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And we actually have a barber school here in Edmonton. So I went to school for it. And then, yeah, I've been cutting hair ever since. It's been almost 10 years now.
Okay, so I asked Ryan Reber because he's also a barber. Asked him who had the best hair in BKFC. So I ask you, who has the best hair in BKFC? Do you think?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Okay.
Definitely not. What's his name? The guy with the pink hair in the back and like it's like a mullet.
Oh, Brian Duran. Yeah.
Duran, yeah, he's a sick fighter, but man, I'm not a fan of that haircut. Oh, I'm trying to think.
He
I don't
just
know.
shaved it
I
all.
like
He
all
he looks
fades.
so much younger. He shaved
I
all of his
know.
facial hair and his yeah. He looks so much younger now.
He
Like I
looks
didn't
fresh
recognize him at
now.
first.
He looks fresh now. I'm not about. I know mullets are in again now, but I don't know why, man. I've never been a fan of. I've had a couple mullets. Like that's a hockey thing out here, but I'm
Yeah.
not into mullets, so I don't know why they're coming back.
Okay. What got you into like? I mean, did you fight a lot growing up? Like, what made you want to become a fighter?
Yeah, man, I grew up with a mentally handicapped sister. So she's pretty severely handicapped. It was just me and her growing up. I grew up in a little small redneck, as you'd call it, town.
Sure.
Probably about 8,000 people, a little oil field town here in Alberta. And I used to get made fun of quite a bit growing up because of my sister, and it was always causing fights. Like anytime anyone said anything, I was swinging. So I got in a lot of fights growing up because of that. And then I just enjoyed fighting always. So then when I was a bit younger, like 18, I was getting into bar fights and stuff. And then finally I was like, I need to get out of this before, I get myself in trouble or something. So I started training boxing right after that. And then yeah, I trained for two months before I had my first amateur fight.
Okay, and then I was reading that like quite a few of your fights amateur went the distance, but then when you turn pro, you seem to like turn it up. So was it like something mentally that you said like once you went pro you were going to go harder, or like it seems like you're competing harder, I guess now.
I think I'm just taking it a lot more serious now, and I mean, obviously, without the headgear, it helps. I had a couple knockouts in amateur, nothing crazy,
Okay,
but I think just without the headgear, it definitely helps a lot. And just I've just trained so much harder now. This is my life now. Like even cutting hair is just my side hustle now. Like I train usually twice a day, 5, 6 days a week. Like this is all I do now.
is the goal to get to the states? Are you happy just kind of like headlining a show every once, twice a year in Canada? Like what's your goal with the BKFC?
No, man, I want to get into the States. I want people to know who I am. I want to put on exciting
Sure,
fights for the fans. And like States is where it is. That's where all the big major sports stuff is happening, right? So I want to get out of
sure.
Canada. Like I was actually supposed to fight on the BKFC prospects in Denver at the end of May.
Okay.
And then my opponent, something happened with my opponent. He couldn't get a license or something, so that didn't end up happening. But the States is the goal, man. And then like I'm not just playing around doing this for fun. Like I'm gonna get to the belt for sure.
Okay, so you have a big fight coming up this weekend. Not you, but like Jake Lindsay versus Elvin Brito, two guys at 165. Going for that number one contender. Do you have do you like both guys? Do you have a preference on who do you think will win? Like, what do you see happening?
I've watched Brito a little bit. I think I've only seen one fight of Jake Lindsay, but I don't know enough about them to say which way it's gonna go. But I
Sure.
think it's gonna be an exciting fight. I love watching my own weight class. I love watching all BKFC, man, just to study. Like even if I don't even half the time pay attention to who's fighting. I just study the fights. Like it's all I watch now. Like I used to watch tons of UFC, and I don't even watch much UFC anymore. It's all bare knuckle.
It's so weird. I'll talk to a lot of fighters, and either they're like you and they're like, I watch everything, or I'll talk to an insane amount of fighters that go, I don't watch anything unless it's like my opponent, and then I'll watch. So, have you always like you enjoy combat sports, so you watch it, or is it something that you develop more as you watch BKFC?
Yeah, I've always watched combat sports since I was young. Like pretty much since I was like 17, 18 when I was getting into fighting. I always watched the big UFCs. But yeah, I
Right,
think since I got into boxing, I don't know why I always watch UFC. I love UFC. You know, I'm buddies with a few MMA fighters and stuff, so there we always go watch that together. I watch obviously all the big boxing fights and all that, but I've been
right.
watching combat sports for at least 10 years now.
UFC is great. I like it. But when you watch a BKFC fight, there's just something so much more action packed about bare knuckle. You know what I mean? Like I said, if you watch two really good UFC guys, it's fun. But I mean, the majority of the fights are kind of boring. But it seems like
Yeah.
you could have two guys off the couch in a bare knuckle fight, and it's going to be action packed.
Exactly. And I was telling someone about this earlier. Like that last BKFC fight that was here, I've been to that arena numerous times to watch MMA, watch boxing, and I have
Right.
never heard that place that loud and that crazy ever. And I've been to tons of events there. Like it even just I was in the back obviously getting ready for my fight, but that building was like fucking vibrating, man. It was crazy. And I think everybody now after coming to that, like this event sold out so fast, man. I'm done 20 grand in ticket sales. Like like people are so fucking excited for this next one now, especially the people that didn't get to make it to the last one and heard about this one. Like people are pumped about it.
I do hope they don't go back there in the winter. I heard nothing but horror stories. I'm excited they're going back there when there's no snow on the ground. Hopefully, I don't think Ruben Roundstone will be destroying the ring or anything. So hopefully this event goes off, without a hiccup on it. But yeah, that last one had a couple things in there. You're like, wow, that's not good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was actually in the back getting stitched up when that shit happened with the Roundstone guy, but I watched it after and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Okay, so Sonny Smith, he had a tough fight against Riggs up there the last time. Are Do you picture like I mean you seem like you've got the length over this guy, but he is a tough guy. How do you see the fight playing out?
I'm coming out on top for sure. I know he doesn't have the dog in him like I do. He's a good technical boxer as well. He's tough. He's got really good cardio, I've noticed, but I'm not worried, man. Like I've been working my ass off, man. I seen on Instagram this guy. I don't care if you were drinking or what. He was at a fucking big music festival in BC. It's called Shambhala. He was there like
Mm-hmm.
like 2 weekends ago. I saw it through Instagram. This guy's at a music festival. I'm like, I'm in the gym dying. I'm looking on Instagram. This guy's out there fucking partying at a music festival. Like, he's not taking it serious like I am. I'm gonna finish this guy for sure.
How insane was it that they Canada had another headline event and then that one got scrapped literally the day that they announced it, and then they were able to get you to swoop in and save the card. That's got to be a good feeling that they're like, we know that you can carry this card.
It's pretty exciting, man. Like, this is only my third professional fight. I haven't even been a pro for a year yet, and I'm already headlining like a big event here in Edmonton. And like, this is my home city, right? So I'm gonna have so many fans there, and it's gonna be amazing. I'm super excited.
Okay, is there so 65 is going to be your weight class, and not looking past this guy, but I mean, what's the next progression? Like, what do you see next for you after this fight?
After this fight, I want to get a contract from David and Connor. Get a contract, and I want to come make my American debut, man. That's what it's always been. Even before I thought I was going to do bare knuckle, even when I thought I was just going to be boxing, the goal was always to get to the States, man, because that's where all the eyes are. That's where just all the big sports hubs are, and that's where I got to be. I got to get out of Canada.
Okay, so I know you fought a lot when you were younger, but my last question I always ask people: do you remember the first time you were in a street fight? The first time you punched somebody out of anger? Do you remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Can you share the story with us?
Yeah, I think it was, man, it must have been like grade 4 or 5. I was in the schoolyard and my sister was getting picked on by a kid, and one of my buddies came and told me about it. And we ran over across the yard and found him, and I just started swinging at this kid. And then that was where it all started. And after that, man, even if it didn't have to do with my sister, if any of my buddies had any issues, anything, I was always the one that was fighting for everybody.
That's awesome. Okay, is there any sponsors or people you want to give shout out to before we call it a night?
Um, yeah, shout out, man. Shout out my tattoo artist. He just did this for me
All
for the
right.
fight. Yeah, shout out to my marketing team, Iron Voice. Shout out to my girlfriend, Julie. She's been cooking for me. She's gonna help me with my weight cut. She's just been solid for me for all of this, man. Like, that's one thing being a fighter. I'd say you got to find yourself a solid girlfriend because it makes a world of difference.
Absolutely.
Like, this camp has been so much better because of her. But other than that, man, Sonny
It
Smith better be fucking ready, man, because I'm gonna bring it to this guy.
I love that you sound like you've got the Canadian, like, I have quite a few friends that are Canadian, and I mean, you got that Canadian accent, and the way you talk, like, and you got that tough guy, and I love it. Like, I can't wait to. There's so many times that like I've wanted to, like, are you going to come out like a hockey jersey? You got to come out in like a hockey jersey, and like some fun stuff. I think.
You know what? I was good. So our team here, Edmonton Oilers, made it to the Stanley Cup Finals this year, and I was saying if they win the cup,
Sure.
I'm 100% coming out in a jersey for my next fight. But I mean, they ended up losing. But who knows? Maybe I'll still come out in a jersey, man.
Yeah.
Fuck, people will love that.
Right. Awesome, man. Well, I look forward to seeing it. And like I said, you've got a fan down here, and I know, like, I have some friends up there in Canada. They're like, "Oh, you got to get Stuve on. You got to get Stuve on." So I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
Fuck yeah, I appreciate you having me, man.
Cheers. All right, thanks, man. Have a good night.
You too, buddy. Take care.